Yo, what is up, y'all? It's Cone back here again today with another video. I want to talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves for just a bit. Right now, they're playing some really good basketball. They're 7th in the Western Conference at 38-29. They're 3.5 games up on the Clippers with the 8th seed. They have the 9th ranked offense in the league. And right now, they're on pace to make the playoffs for the first time since that weird season with Jimmy Butler, which honestly doesn't even feel like it happened anymore. They're playing really good. And so I kind of want to talk about some of the reasons why. If you've been on this channel for a bit, and if you haven't, if this is your first video, like and subscribe, why not? Talk about basketball sometimes, but before the season, I predicted that the Timberwolves would make the play-in tournament. I liked the youth that they had. I liked the potential for jumps with like Anthony Edwards. Cat has always been underrated in my opinion. D'Angelo Russell, I thought, another season of getting him into the fold. McDaniels, Vanderbilt, I like their potential as defenders. Naz Reid, solid backup big. Malik Beasley, a solid role player. I like what they had going for them, and I like what they showed at the end of last season when Chris Finch came into the fold. They were playing some really good basketball at the end of the year. Sure, they had the 7th overall pick, which went to the Warriors, but they showed a lot of promise. And so I really thought they had the chance, combined with the fact that the Thunder, Rockets, Spurs weren't really trying to win. The Kings are always the Kings. I thought this was the Timberwolves' year, and so I made a video calling them a wild card out west. I said they could make the play-in tournament, maybe even higher up in the play-in tournament. I had a lot of faith in them. So coming into the season when they start off 3-1, I was like, yes, this is exactly what I saw coming. I knew it. I made a video talking about all those reasons why I believed in them and why I thought they were really going to shock people this season. I was super high on the Minnesota Timberwolves. And like I said, I kind of just like the guys they have on this roster. I like Cat a lot. And I like seeing teams that have kind of been stuck in mediocrity for a while finally kind of make that jump. And the Timberwolves were making that jump. And I was super impressed with it. The second I made that video, they had a 6-game losing streak immediately after that video. It's classic cone curse type stuff. If you haven't been on this channel before, which once again, like and subscribe. But if you haven't been on this channel before, you might not know. I kind of curse teams or players whenever I make a video talking positively about someone or a team. They completely fall off, and the opposite. For example, a couple nights ago, I made a video about Shea, and then last night against the Minnesota Timberwolves, actually, he had one of his worst games of the season. So it's kind of just the way it goes. So I was like, okay, I managed to curse the Timberwolves by making that positive video. And so I made a video saying like, I'm kind of just done with them. They tricked me. I thought this was going to be their year. I guess it's not. Karl Anthony Towns was in the media talking about like, this is the same old stuff. Things were looking pretty bad. And then since that video, they've been absolutely great. Since that video, they've been 35-22. So maybe this video ends up recursing them. I'm not quite sure. Timberwolves fans, if that's what happens, I'm so sorry. I want to see y'all succeed, so I want to talk about you. And I've got to make YouTube videos. So someone has to get cursed. I'm sorry it's you. But they're finally breaking through. And so it's really nice to see. This is my first video specifically about them since I talked about them tricking me. So let's talk about kind of what shifted and what has been so good for them over the course of this year. Their key has really been their starting lineup. And I mean, on paper, it looks pretty solid. Patrick Beverley, D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, Jarrod Vanderbilt, and Karl Anthony Towns is usually their starting lineup when everyone's fully healthy. And like on paper, like I said, it looks pretty solid. But you might not realize that is one of the best starting lineups in the NBA, period. Out of all 5-man lineups in the NBA that have played at least 200 minutes together, the Timberwolves, that starting 5, has the 3rd best net rating across all lineups played in the NBA of lineups that have played at least 200 minutes, and the 2nd best offensive rating out of every single lineup in the NBA. So they've been phenomenal. Good mix of offense and defense. Let's talk about the guys specifically in that lineup in particular. Of course, their big 3 is Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Edwards, and D'Angelo Russell. Starting with Cat, he's always someone that's been slept on in my opinion, like I said. A couple years ago when he was kind of hurt, he was having a down year due to injuries and stuff like that. There were a lot of people talking about him not being a top 3 or 4 big man anymore. They were saying he's top 5, top 6, putting other guys above him. I'm not going to name names because that's just going to start controversy. But Cat, in my opinion, has always been a top 3 center in the NBA. I have him right behind Jokic and Embiid. Of course, those two guys are kind of consensus top 2. Then you've got Cat, Gobert. You can talk about Bam also in that conversation. So whatever you want to go with. Personally, for me, Cat is right there at 3 or 4. He's always been slept on. He's the best shooting big man 3-point wise of all time. Some people are going to dispute that. I really don't think it is disputable when you look at the stats. He's having a monster season. He's averaging 24.5 points per game, right around 10 rebounds, 4 assists, shooting 41% from 3, 52% from the field. He's a monster offensively. He's been hitting clutch buckets. About a week ago, he had a clutch 3 to close it out against the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's just doing the stuff that Cat has really always done, and I feel like more people are starting to kind of recognize that, which is cool to see because, like I mentioned, Cat is a player that I like a lot. I really want to see him succeed, and so to see him ball out, and not just ball out, but ball out in a way that his team is actually helping him win is cool to see, because he's one of those guys that people in the past have been like, oh, he's empty stats, like he's playing on a bad team, his stats don't matter that much, which I talked about my Shea video. It's a whole dumb conversation. Maybe I'll make a whole video talking about the empty stats thing because I could go on for that for a while, but Cat has just been phenomenal. He has really been the centerpiece of their team, as he has been for years. Last year's number 1 pick, Anthony Edwards, was kind of an X factor coming into the year, and he has taken a big leap. He's looked like kind of an all-star caliber player, putting up career highs in pretty much everything, looking more efficient, playing really solid defense as well. I want to give him credit for that. He's super athletic and quick, so he's able to kind of stay in front of guys better than most other guards are, while also taking on a pretty solid scoring load, scoring the second most points for this team on a nightly basis. He's a guy that could drop 50 on your head one night. I know because he did against the Thunder, he can go berserk from 3. I think he had like 5 or 6 threes against us in the first quarter of a game a couple months ago. Actually, the one that I was at in OKC, he was a monster. And seeing him firsthand, it really just shows how good he is, how athletic he is, just everything that he does. It's very clear that there was a reason why he was the number 1 overall pick. I think if the Wolves were a bit better, he could have gotten some all-star buzz, to be honest. But just overall, Anthony Edwards, really, really solid player. He only continues to get better, and he really is their X factor. You kind of know what you have in Cat, and you kind of know what you have in D'Lo, but Anthony Edwards' trajectory, if he continues on the rise that he's on right now, he's going to be one of the best players in the league. And if that is what he's capable of, having 2 guys next to him like Cat and D'Lo, who I think really complement his skill set, this Wolves team is going to be super scary going forward. And while I'm talking about this big 3 and talking about Cat and D'Lo, let's talk about D'Lo for a little bit, because in my opinion, D'Lo has been one of the most underrated players in the league this season. The season that he is having, if you just look strictly at his numbers, they're not amazing. They're pretty good, but they don't pop off the page maybe as much as some other guys in the league. But the way that he has contributed to this team's success, it flies so under the radar. His playmaking has been absolutely incredible. His entry passes to Karl-Anthony Towns, just getting people in position to score the basketball, like watching last night. Just whenever he's on the court, what D'Lo does, he just dictates things so well. And to be honest, I've never been someone who's been super high on D'Angelo Russell. He's completely changed my mind over the course of this season. I have completely flipped on him. I think he's super underrated, underappreciated. What he brings defensively, offensively, he's another guy that can just go off on any given night for like 30 plus points, which really gives them a 3-headed monster offensively. His defense, as I keep mentioning, it's so improved from what it was earlier in his career. He really locks down on that end. His playmaking is incredible. He makes some of those passes where guys just catch it and they're like, how am I this open to score the basketball? He's been super impressive. Their floor general really slows everything down. And I think part of the reason why they're so good has been how good he has been. And I really don't feel like people talk about him enough. So if you're watching this video and you get into a hoops conversation, talk about the Timberwolves, make sure to bring up D'Lo, because D'Lo really is kind of the engine behind everything. We look at some of their role players. Jarrod Vanderbilt is I made a tweet about this like a couple weeks ago or like a month ago, I think. But if I had to make an all-star team of just role players, like the role player all-star team, Jarrod Vanderbilt is first team, easily. The defense that he has played, he looks like he could be an all-defensive guy very, very soon. He's been better offensively than I thought as well. Great cutter to the rim. He does a little bit of everything. You've got McDaniels, who's a bit of a worse defender, but a bit of a better offensive player. He was drilling threes last night against the Thunder from really, really far out, a few feet behind the line. Malik Beasley set a franchise record for threes in a game against the Thunder last night, which of course is the way it goes. But he has been solid as of recently. He's kind of had an up and down year, but if he's able to be consistently that type of threat from 3, the Timberwolves get even scarier. Pat Bev has been incredible for them. He really has brought a lot of leadership to that team, helped kind of raise that defensive mindset that they have. Like I mentioned, they're not a great defense. They're right around league average, but a lot of people coming into the year thought they were going to be terrible on that end. So Patrick Beverley has done a good job of kind of flipping that around and helping them out a lot on that end, as well as just veteran leadership. Like I said, it really feels like he has kind of helped to shift the culture in the Minnesota Timberwolves locker room. You've got Chris Finch, who I think has done a very good job as head coach. With last night's win against OKC, he is now 500 in his career as a coach, and that is now second best in Timberwolves franchise history, which kind of speaks to a lot of what Wolves fans have had to go through to get to a point like this where it looks like they are going to potentially be a contender in a few years. They've just been really good. Naz Reid, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, he's been phenomenal as well as a backup center. Josh Okogie has looked like he could be a great bench piece for the future. Just a lot is going really right for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm excited for them. I like what I've seen from them. They're just hooping, and they're not a team I would want to face round one if I'm out there in the Western Conference, because even though, like, I'm not saying they're going to beat anyone, but the Timberwolves feel like a team that's going to give you a lot of problems, so many offensive weapons. They're young, they're hungry, they really want to win, and so going up against a team like that in a series could really be kind of draining for a team that's trying to make the finals. Like right now, you have the top two seeds, the Phoenix Suns and the Memphis Grizzlies, or like the Golden State Warriors. Those three teams, I don't think they want to face the Timberwolves round one. Not saying they would lose to them, but just that the Wolves are going to be a tougher first round series for many teams than they probably want to see in that, in that first round. Maybe the Wolves could even jump up, potentially up a couple spots or up a spot if they continue to play the way that they have. They've won 4 in a row. They're playing really good basketball. And so I wanted to give a shout out to the Minnesota Timberwolves, the way that they've been playing. Hopefully this does not curse them, because like I said, I want to see the Wolves succeed. I like seeing smaller markets get those young draft picks, and a player in Cat that I like a lot, D'Lo, who's proving me wrong this season. This is just a team of a lot of guys that kind of have a chip on their shoulder, and I'm excited to see where they can go. I want to see them succeed. And so shout out to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Shout out to Chris Finch, by the way. Coaching really well. He's really turned things around for this team. But yeah, cool to see. So I appreciate y'all watching. Let me know what you think about the Wolves in the comment section below. Do you think they could win a first round playoff series? What do you think their ceiling is this year? And even going forward, do you think that this core, this big three of Cat, D'Lo, and Anthony Edwards, could be a championship winning core at some point? For me, it really all depends on the trajectory that Anthony Edwards takes. And if he continues to play the way that he has and the way that he has developed, he's going to be great. He's going to be potentially a top 10 player in this league. So shout out to the squad. I appreciate y'all watching. Like and subscribe. Once again, comment down below. Let me know what you think about the Wolves. I appreciate y'all watching. I will see you all later. Real one, say it back.